Welcome, everyone. My name is Tracy Murphy Poxtis, and this is Good to Great in Under 8, the weekly show for motivated professionals who want to start having greater business impact and get more fulfillment from their careers. So guys, today I'm going to talk about one of the major constants in our work environment, and that's change. So whether it's dealing with yet another reorg, a shift in strategy, getting a new boss maybe for the fourth time in 2 years, right? Change is never easy. So that's why I wanted to spend a little bit of time today and talk about what makes it so hard. And I also wanted to share a few strategies to help everybody embrace and really better manage change. So what makes it so hard, right? Why is change so hard for us? Well, as I thought back on it, and I really thought through all the changes I went through in my career, I think there's really a handful of reasons that change is so hard. And the first is that we really fear losing control, responsibility, or our status in some way. So when a change requires us to no longer lead a team that we loved leading, or it requires us to no longer be a project manager on a key company initiative that we really love doing, or if the change required us to move to a smaller division, right? All those things can make us feel like we lost something, or we're giving up something, or our status is now less. And so that's a key reason why we don't like change. Another reason we don't like change is because we're often uncertain about what's going to happen as a result of that change, right? That uncertainty causes a lot of anxiety and stress, and we don't like that, right? We want to protect ourselves from all of that. So what we typically do is try to avoid the change. So this is when we end up telling ourselves things like, well, it's always better to stick with the devil you know versus the devil you don't. I think another reason, guys, change can be hard is because oftentimes it's thrown upon us without any time to prepare. And naturally, right, when we don't have time to prepare for something, it causes us stress and anxiety. And another reason, and as I thought about this one, I really kind of had to dig a little deeper, is really around us being concerned about whether or not we have what it takes to be successful in the new world. Do we have what it takes to deliver? I mean, honestly, change is happening so fast. Just when we feel like we understand our role, we're rocking and rolling, we're doing things, something changes. And so that can be a little bit unsettling. And last but not least, my favorite reason why I think change is hard and can be avoided is because changes similar to it were disasters in the past. So I remember I worked for Tropicana when the decision was made to change the packaging. And not only did that change create an enormous amount of work for people, but it also caused sales to decline, I think like 20 or 25%. And so on a $2 billion brand, that was huge, and it was a disaster. And so I remember as my career progressed, every time we were going to do a packaging change, I thought back to, oh my gosh, is this going to be another Tropicana disaster? So I associated that type of change, a packaging change, with disaster. So when we think about, well, how do we kind of work through these things and how do we deal with it? I think there's really three things that we can do. First, we can really start to recognize and accept that change is going to happen, right? It's going to occur. And not because our bosses or our companies are determined to make our lives miserable, right? But because there's an enormous amount of pressure being put on today's companies, right, to innovate and to grow. So accept that that's going to happen. It's part of now the world we live in. And second, acknowledge to ourselves that change is hard. Right, I just shared a variety of reasons why it's hard. Accept that, right? Acknowledge that it is hard. Here's why it's hard. And allow yourself to experience a little of that anxiety and that concern. But don't focus on it, right? Don't focus on the anxiety and the concern. Recognize that it's there, Accept that it's there, but don't let it control and drive you, right? Because that's when the wheels start to come off the bus. And then the third thing that you can do is carve out some time and really think about the benefits of the change. And so this is sort of counterintuitive. We never really take that step back and say, how can I benefit from this, right? What's the one big thing about the change that maybe excites me, that I can use as an inspiration during the change? Think about what new skills, strengths, or competencies this change is going to allow you or your team to develop. And then think about how you might be better off personally and professionally because you've experienced living through this change. So again, guys, the three things: recognize and accept that change is going to happen. Acknowledge it's going to cause some anxiety and concern, but don't let it control you. And then spend some time thinking about the benefits of the change, how you and the team can benefit. So I know these are tough things, but if you start putting these into place, change is going to be a little bit easier for you each time going forward. And of course, and as always, if you're working through a major change now and want some help or a sounding board to work through it, definitely send me an email at tracy@tracymurphycoaching.com and we will get a conversation started. So that's it for this week, guys. I will see you next time.